Hey guys, welcome to 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description. And here's what I need you to do. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel to stay up to date to everything we're doing here on 3 and Out and the Volume. Okay, let's go Middlekauff Mailbag. At John Middlekauff is the Instagram. Easy, just slide up into the DMs and you get your question answered here on the show. It's how we interact with the people because, as you know, we're a show of the people. You guys are my people. Huge fan of the pod from Germany. Little international audience here. Some thoughts on Kingsbury. I get you don't trust Cliff, and even the Cardinal fans are divided on him, but I think we have to give him some credit. He inherited one of the worst offenses in the last decade, statistically in 2019, and improved the team, his coaching, each year. Also, you highlighted on your last pods how difficult it is to transition from college to the NFL. And I just think there's a learning curve. Last year, the Cardinals missed the playoffs only because some missed kicks and because Kyler got hurt. Also, he has a winning percentage of .471 as a head coach in the NFL, while Shanahan has a winning percentage of .463. What are your thoughts on this? Well, I mean, he's had Kyler Murray for 3 years. If you gave Kyle Shanahan Kyler Murray, he'd win. When he's had Jimmy Garoppolo, his record speaks for itself. Now, Kyle's a unique coach because he's had some really shitty years. Right? He did not have the number one. Cliff Kingsbury inherited a team with the number one overall pick and got a franchise quarterback. Kyle Shanahan, I've seen him win multiple playoff games. I've seen him have a lead in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. It happened against Mahomes. Kingsbury's never won a game that's mattered. Ever in his career, never won one game that mattered. Games in September don't matter. What happens in November and definitely December when the game matters? Every time in his career, Texas Tech, now in the pros, he hasn't come through. So, listen, if they win this week, they'd be in first place and they feel like a shoo-in to be in the playoffs. I'm not acting like I can't be wrong on this, but the guy has never won, ever, as a head coach, college or pro. At the end of the day, if Urban Meyer never wins a thing in the league, his record in college speaks for itself. An all-time great. Kingsbury, as of today, has never won a game that's mattered. Not one. Now, I'll give him credit. He goes into L.A. and beats Matt Stafford. You know where I stand this week. I'm taking McVay. I'm taking Stafford over Kingsbury and Kyler. But I don't have, these are just my opinions. This is where I stand, right? I don't have the facts. I wouldn't bet my life that the Cardinals aren't going to make the playoffs. Based off history, I would say that I'm going to bet against Cliff Kingsbury. And if you consistently do that, you would be correct. I'll also be the first to admit their team is really talented. Their general manager has drafted a lot of good players in his career. Steve Keim's record as a talent acquisition general manager is fantastic. Just look, the team that he built with Arians, now the talent that he has on this roster. Like I think Steve Keim's good. I just don't see Cliff Kingsbury winning meaningful games. But I'm prepared. It might turn out to be a wrong take. I'm prepared for that. Though I feel pretty confident about where I stand. Go Rams. Try to catch every episode on my daily commute to work. Appreciate it. As an Eagles fan, I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts, but I'm not seeing a franchise quarterback. My question is, how do you feel is the best player fit for the Eagles out of quarterbacks that will be coming out of college? Or is this the following year's class more talented? From what I've seen of watching college football this first month, I do not see a number one overall pick. I do not see a quarterback that I'd feel comfortable drafting in the first round. Now, let's watch this Alabama-Ole Miss game this weekend. Matt Corral, the quarterback, who now I think is the Heisman frontrunner. He looks pretty talented, but let's see what it looks like against Alabama. I'm fascinated to watch that. Spencer Rattler, I'm out. Dude on North Carolina, I'm out. I haven't watched the guy at Liberty because I don't watch Liberty football. Jake Haener at Fresno State, I don't know if he's a first-round quarterback. To me, the Eagles' move is if Deshaun Watson and this stuff goes away, they would package their picks and they would go get Deshaun Watson. Because what Jalen Hurts did Monday Night Football, that was terrible. That has to, I have not talked to anyone inside the Eagles building this week. I would imagine that that rattled them a little bit. How could it not? A young quarterback who you think has a lot going for him and then plays like that in a meaningful game where your main rival has a young quarterback, younger. Dak's obviously older than Jalen, but that's what a franchise quarterback looks like. Your quarterback You know the thing about Jalen? He doesn't have a great arm. So his ball is constantly late. That's why he throws a lot of picks. He does not have some howitzer. Like, he ain't Kyler Murray, you know? His arm is closer to Dak than I think people wanted to, admit. For the mailbag, why is it okay to say this year, the NFL's rough and it's not easy to succeed as a rookie quarterback? But when Tua went 6-3 last year, we called for his head. Thanks. Well, Zach Wilson and I'm recording this part before the Thursday night game. Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence play on terrible teams. I mean, they might combine for 5 wins together, right, this season. The Jags might win a couple. The Jets might win a couple. Honestly, they might win 3 or 4 games. Their teams suck. Justin Fields, the more and more every game goes by, we go, the Bears might not be any good. Their teams are... Miami was good. Miami won 10 games. They had a really good defense. They have a good coach. They're good on special teams. Their offense, when Ryan Fitzpatrick in there, was functional. When Tua was in there, their offense was not good. So we watched Tua go 6-3. It wasn't because of Tua. It was defense, it was turnovers, and it was special teams. Tua made a couple plays, but if I put Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson on that Dolphins team, I would expect those guys to look better than Tua. Like, ultimately, wins and losses matter if you're Aaron Rodgers. You're like, yeah, I'm carrying the team, right? If I'm Russell Wilson, we go 12-4 because of me. I've thrown 40-plus touchdowns. But you can't have the games that he was having and then take credit for the wins. Because here's the other thing. He got yanked in multiple games. One of their wins that he got credit for, he got pulled out and Ryan Fitzpatrick came in and beat the Raiders. So every player their situation is different, right? Some guys have a bad record and play well. Some guys have a good record, at least for one season. You can't sustain winning and not be a good quarterback. There is no quarterback that has like a 8-year winning record who's not a good quarterback. But for a season, you can play bad if your team's built up and you can win games. And that's what I think Tua did last year, because when I watched him, I went, yeah, this guy's not very good. And then his coach, that's just my opinion, right? So that's just my opinion. But his coach, the great part about football, it's irrelevant what coaches and players say. I just judge them on actions, especially coaches. He's my starting quarterback. Well, you keep yanking him out of games when you're losing. So clearly, you don't think of him that highly. I'll think this till the day I die, unless I'm told by someone in the Miami Dolphins organization this isn't true. And I don't know anyone there, so I probably won't be told this. But I think the owner forced their hands. I do not think that Brian Flores, the general manager, Chris Greer, wanted to play Tua last year. But the moment they got to the bye last year and their team was decent and Justin Herbert has taken the league by storm, Stephen Ross is like, everyone told me tank for Tua, now we have Tua. I want to see Tua. We have a good team. That, to me, felt like an owner move. And I said this last year, I still believe it to this day, that got forced on them. They did not want to play him. Why would they? The game in which they benched Ryan Fitzpatrick, he had just beat the 49ers. He had looked like Dan Marino. I think he threw 3 or 4 touchdowns, but the game he played was like, holy shit, this guy looks good. I can't see a football coach doing that. It has to be an owner. It had to be the owner. Question for the mailbag. Watching the Cowboys' failed quarterback sneak get overturned got me thinking, why can't the NFL use goal line technology like it's used in European soccer? Seems like it would be easy to put some chips in the football to determine if it has broken the plane of the goal line. Thanks. Love the pod. Proud member of the Bald Brotherhood. Thanks, buddy. Jeremy, good-looking bald guy. Even though here on on your picture it looks like you have some hair, but maybe you've lost it since. I would say I say this all the time. The NFL does not care about the outcomes of these games. They do not care who wins, who loses. They don't care how shitty their referees are. Jerome Boger and his crew is an embarrassment. To officials. The league does not care. They do not care. Because they make money whoever wins. They're like me and you. Unless you bet on a game, but if you're just watching a random game and you don't have money on it and you're not a fan of either team, you don't really care, right? You may have a favorite player in the game you might be rooting for, but for the most part, you're indifferent. Imagine being the NFL league office, Roger Goodell and his crew, and you're making money off every game, win or lose, whether the call's blown, whether the ball gets over the plane, whether they overturn a call. You do not care. You just signed a $100 billion television deal that is coming whether the Jags win every game, lose every game. It doesn't matter who wins and loses. And you see these television ratings, it's like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I truly believe the league does not give 1 ounce of care who wins and loses any games. Now, the ref situation years ago with the replacement refs was so extreme, they didn't have a choice. But listen, I think the refereeing, and it would be difficult to be an official. It would. Things happen fast. It's hard. I'm not acting like it's an easy job. I probably couldn't do it. Wouldn't want to do it. But, we have consistent evidence now. These officials are terrible. They consistently miss calls. And the league office doesn't do anything. The same guys stay employed. Yet, as a scout, as a coach, as a player, if you consistently fuck up, you get fired. You get fired. There is accountability on a football field. There's accountability for the players, the coaches, the front offices, the owners. No, the owner and the league office. It doesn't matter. Yet, or the referees, the same guys that consistently screw up calls. Always, I turn on the game and there's the same crew. There's Boger. There's this guy. It's like these guys. I watch them every week blow basic calls and they keep getting jobs. It's not like they fire these guys. They write them. Because, like I said, the NFL truly, all these games this weekend, Minnesota, Cleveland, let's just say hypothetically, there is the biggest controversial call ever. Do you think Roger Goodell spends 1 second worrying about whether they got the call right or wrong? 1 second. Do you know what's great for his business? Everyone on social media, every podcast like this, every Colin Cowherd, Dan Patrick, you name it, is talking about it on Monday. So what does that mean? They dominate the headlines. They dominate the conversations, and they keep printing money. That, to me, is all the league office cares about. Staying in the headlines, keeping their product with a lot of eyeballs on it, which is clearly the case right now for the sport. But whether the ball crosses the plane or not for Dak, do you think Roger Goodell might not even been watching the game? He might have had his feet up in the spa with his wife. Oh, they screwed it up? No big deal. You think we're going to waste money putting a chip, even though to them it wouldn't even cost very much? They don't even, it doesn't even bother them. They don't even, I think we look at it, now, I don't anymore because I'm so numb to it, because I, like what I'm saying, I believe, but I think fans get so worked up and they don't understand it. Like, we have, the evidence is in. No one cares except the coaches and the players, because if they lose, they get fired. And if they win, they get extensions. The referees, whether they get the call right or not, they get to stay employed. You know, it's must be an incredible job. You get to consistently do poorly at your job and keep getting gigs. It's great. If no one listened to this podcast, I'd go out of business. Like, I have to produce. If I don't produce, we don't make any money, I don't eat. This thing goes under. You know, whoever is listening to this right now, most of you guys have private sector jobs. If you don't, today I'm recording this, the end of Q3. If you don't hit your quotas for Q3, people are looking at you funny and your job's on the line. Referees, like, catch or not a catch, let's review it, whatever, who cares, on to the next play. Incredible gig if you can get it. Thanks for hitting me up. At John Middlekauff is the Instagram. Slide up into those direct messages. And if you're listening on Colin's feed, know this, I go exclusive on Monday, exclusively on the 3 and Out feed. Go subscribe to that, and we'll keep talking some football. Have a great weekend. Enjoy football. Enjoy your family. Enjoy a few pops. Put your feet up. Relax. Get a little balance in your life. And yeah, enjoy the sun if you live in a place where the sun's out. I know I do. If you don't, that sucks. I hate the cold. But I'll see you next week. Adios. Thanks for watching 3 and Out. You can check out the podcast below in the description. And make sure you subscribe right now to the Volumes YouTube channel.